Hi, Amazon readers and social media followers. I am Dr. Nakia Simmons Cotton, author of Essential Tips for Special Education Leaders. Did you know that special education students were excluded from school in the 1800s and that parents had to pay for private education? Did you know that one of the first cases was the city of Cambridge in Massachusetts versus a family in 1893, where that student was expelled because the school determined that he had poor academic progress. So he was actually expelled and excluded from school. Did you know that? Did you know that throughout the years that students were excluded from special education and treated badly? And it wasn't really until Brown versus the Board of Education where the code was really cracked on separate but equal for special education students and people of colors. Well, if you didn't know that, that is why you need to read Essential Tips, because Chapter 2 talks about the history of special education. In Chapter 2, I also talk about the parts of special education and how the individual education plan actually came into play. I talk about the components of the IEP. I talk about the parts of an IEP. And then I talk about parent rights as well as legal cases throughout the years that have trended in special education. So if you want to know more about the parts of an IEP or individual education plan, or how the journey and evolution of special education, the history, and how we've evolved as far as exclusion students to including students, that is in Chapter 2. I encourage you, if you want to learn more, to read my book, Essential Tips for Special Education Leaders. Chapter 2, like I said, talks about the history of special education. Chapter 2 talks about the individual education plan and how it was created. And I also talk about legal cases and the way that the free and appropriate public education has trended in the court cases today. So if you want to know more, go to Amazon, purchase the book, Essential Tips. Also, there's a workbook. So there's a paperback and ebook for $18.95, and then there's a workbook for you to work through as well for $16.95. So take a look. I think that you will find the book valuable and you will learn a lot about history and special education and the whole evolution, because if you don't know where you come from, you can't know where you're going. History is very important. So take a look and happy reading.